Sorry. No problem.
Attention! Hello everyone, how's everybody doing today? Thank you everyone for coming. I know a lot of you have came, last week in honor of Dante Wright, but unfortunately, Adam Toledo lost his life, and I'm really struggling to find the words to express my frustration. A lot of the things that were said last week were said this week, and so I'm really, that could have been my brother, and I know that Adam is just one of many who are affected by police brutality in this country, police brutality in this state, and every single time that things like this happen, it's a reminder that change needs to happen in a radical way, in which we think of reallocating funds from the police to areas in which help people, not kill people. And so, today's vigil is going to take us on a march, and Enrique here, who organized this event, is gonna kind of explain that a little more. But I want to thank everyone for being here today. So thank you.
You help organize this too. I'll give you all the credit. Thank you, everyone. My name is Enrique Sanchez. I do a little bit of organizing with BLMI PAC, with other direct action mutual aid groups, political organizations across the city, across the states. This wasn't planned out until Thursday when we all saw that video. I didn't want to watch that video. I kind of knew what I was expecting, but we are here, right? Because it's the right thing to do. So, rest in peace, Adam Toledo. The young man, 13 years old, was a young Hispanic, Mexican-American. I'm Mexican-American. And that just, continues the same pattern that black and brown people continue to be pushed around, continue to be killed, continue to be executed by the police states across this country. It doesn't matter if it's in the south or the north or the west coast or the south or the northeast. All across the country, black and brown youth and black and brown people continue to be murdered, executed by the police. I'm going to keep this simple. This was initially we're trying to push for a vigil, rally, protest, and then end up doing a march across downtown, and either ending up around Burnside Park or coming back to the State House, depending how folks feel, depending what folks want to do, you all controlling this. We're all in control of our own actions, but we definitely want to do a march if that's what folks want to do.
And I would say this, if I know this is a large group of people, but if anybody wants to come up and speak, I know this is kind of short notice, but we really want to give people a voice and kind of explain how they're feeling. So if anybody wants to come up right now and kind of give their condolences and maybe help them get through this situation by talking, please come up now.
Hi, this
Okay.
is Will James
That's fine.
Advisor. I'm about maybe 200 people here, 100 people.
So peace everyone, my name is Andeda and I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. So we're here today to mourn the deaths of our brothers and sisters. To date, the police have killed 425 people this year. It is without question that they don't protect us. They didn't protect George, Dante, Tamir, Brianna, Adam. And here we are again in the middle of this show trial for George Floyd, a televised reliving of the events that transpired on Memorial Day. And we can't forget George. We can also not forget that this is a 400-year-old problem. There is an undeclared war being waged on our people since the birth of this country. And this isn't just about police brutality. Of course, we need to put Chauvin on trial, but we need to put the entire system on trial. In the PSL, we have a slogan that goes, "Stop the war on Black America." Can we all say that together? Stop the war on Black America! Stop the war on Black America!
Stop the war on Black America!
In recognizing this undeclared war, we gotta think and ask ourselves, why do they have war gear? Who trains them? Can the police be reformed or abolished without taking on the capitalist system? We've seen the same thing happen under Democrat and Republican presidents. We saw the same thing under Obama when the Democrats had controlled the House and the Senate. We had Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, Mike Brown. And then we had Trump, and of course it continued. But now some more liberal elements took to the streets, but only to push reformist solutions. Band-aids on a 400-year-old open wound that is constantly being deepened. And we're here because we're sick and tired. And our society is sick, and not just from COVID-19, which has left over 600,000 people dead unnecessarily, but we're sick from within at its core with white supremacy and capitalist violence. And we can no longer accept the diagnosis that the problems we face by the same people, the same class, that not only reinforces our oppression, but actively benefits from it. Adam Toledo was 13 years old and shot dead by Chicago police. Mayor Lightfoot needs to resign, and how dare she tell us not to get involved in violent protests and to stay calm? We have the right to rebel. We have the right to resist because we have the right to live. I also have a son in middle school like Adam. This could be any of our children or students. Dante Wright was only 20 years old. We remember 12-year-old Tamir Rice, and those police were let off, and in fact they were hired after being fired in another Ohio police department for their brutality. Junior DeVega was my cousin who was killed by Boston police when he was just 19 years old. And who got charged? His brother for fighting back in self-defense against the same police department, and his mother was dragged throughout the media. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly how it's supposed to. We are living and reliving after traumatic death after death and struggle after struggle, but we need to forge ahead and never forget, but also learn lessons of the struggle. And it hasn't even been a year since George Floyd was murdered in broad daylight, and the only reason we know of George is because his community rebelled. They videotaped the police and they were not passive in their resistance. And now we see Chauvin on trial, despite us having seen him murder George in cold blood. And we have the show trial, the media is telling us the system is on trial. Which is pleased, right? Because the capitalist system will never put the capitalist system on trial. And today we heard the closing statements. The state that is supposed to be representing Floyd gave an ode to police, saying that this is not an anti-police trial, but a pro-police trial. It will sacrifice Chauvin and make him exceptional, but he is the normal, and him going to jail will not mean the murder and the brutal oppression of our people will end. And if this is war, class war, we have to win, even if we don't want to fight. I was born into struggle, and we in the PSL believe that we can reform a system to serve our needs. The police are not an institution we can reform. They need to be pulled out by its roots in the branch along with the entire capitalist system. The police are the bulldogs of racism. And we are told that we need more legislation to keep the dogs from attacking us. Well, instead of just focusing on the dogs attacking us, we need to look at the owner of the dogs to really put an end to this oppression. The police and their brutality are just the tip of the iceberg. In order to truly end racist police terror, we need to organize like we've never organized before. And we need to not just mobilize against racism, just like people are doing all over the country, but we need to organize ourselves as a people who are in a war, whether we recognize it or not. And here in Rhode Island, we need to pop the liberal bubble that Rhode Island is somehow more progressive, and that the South is the only place where we have racist police terror. Because as Black revolutionaries have known, like Malcolm X told us, anything below the Canadian border is South. So we need a new system, one deserving of our children like Adam Toledo, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, because our revenge will be the laughter of our children. In peace and power to you if you're willing to fight for it.
All right, everyone. Now we're going to have our youth director at the BLM PAC, Leah, give a speech. She is the real MVP. She is the reason why.
Sorry, y'all.
All right, everyone. Leah. We are dying, whether that be physically or even mentally. Right here in the state of Rhode Island, men who work in schools and around children prey on vulnerable little girls. Now I know this because I was one of them. Now as a young Caucasian woman who has been taken advantage of by the system, this starts to make you think, how the hell are our black and brown children being failed? When will the youth as a collective get the love and peace we deserve? When will we be able to fully trust the adults who are meant to help our development? When will we be offered mental health resources instead of punishment when using anger and rage to express big emotions? The same system that put me in a position where I was preyed upon by someone who was meant to keep me safe is the same system that allows SROs to arrest students or refer them to law enforcement instead of mental health professionals. The conversation of safety needs to happen all across the city, all across Rhode Island, all across the country, and all across the world, and I do not mean safety as in police. From a very young age, the system teaches us to idolize, respect, and abide by people in authority, but these same people in authority are the ones hurting us and using us. Black and brown children are taught to respect individuals with authority, but in turn get their lives taken by them. As a child, when you think of the word safety, you think of police officers. And for children of color, safety is supposed to mean abiding by the law, and for these kids, it did not. Regardless of the hand we youth are dealt, we see things from a perspective of hope and love, but we get the complete opposite in return. Now, I say this to pose the question, when will it end? Children are not born to die. Thank you. Okay, now here's Enrique or Harrison.
At this time, we have another youth advocate, Zay Nabu.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Can you guys hear me in the back? Yeah. Wouldn't you know we've been down? Wouldn't you know we've been hurt, been down before, nigga? When our pride was low, looking to the world like, where do we go, nigga? And we hate po-po, wanna kill us dead in the street for show, Nigga, I'm at the preacher's door. My wings getting weak, my gun, my blubber. We gon' be alright. I find myself coming back to the microphone so often. I'm familiar with the weight of the mic or the blowhorn. I memorized I'm familiar with the memorizing view of the crowd, the sound of my voice when I talk into the mic. I also know the feeling of anxiety that drenches my body in fear, that paralyzes my legs, that makes my heart beat 1,000,000 miles per hour, that makes me choke up with my words. It makes it hard for me to speak and breathe. But then I remember, much like my brothers and sisters, they've been held captive to the feeling of fear. They knew fear, they knew anxiety, they knew horror, they knew silence, they knew bondage, they knew death, they knew the feeling of the rigidness concrete provided them as a final resting bed, oh much too well. Yet, they ask if we're alright. Adam Toledo was 13 years old, 13, a 7th grader. Adam will never get to complete 8th grade. He will never get to experience high school, his first date. He won't know the sluggish feeling from staying up all night to study because he procrastinated to the very last second. He won't know the horrors of algebra or geometry. He won't learn about how the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. He also won't know the sensation of freedom from the grip the steering wheel supplies us. He won't get to get married. He won't get to have kids. He won't be able to buy a house. Adam Toledo was dead. He is murdered. There being multiple culprits. Eric Stillman, the policing system, white supremacy, racism, America, the American system. They happen to also be the murderers of Walter Scott, Alton Sterling, Stephon Clark, Anton Rose, Matthew Williams, Frederick Cox, Rodney Applewhite, Natasha McCade. Shall I continue? Yes. Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, Sean Bell, Eric Gardner, Philando Castillo, Elijah McClain, Rashad Brooks, Oscar Grant, Rodney King. Let me do a couple more. Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Sean Reed, Ahmed Arbery, Amadou Diallo, Tatiana Jefferson, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Dante Wright. For so long, Black people have lit themselves on fire to keep America warm. Ever since they stopped burning us, the response is bitter and cold. Blacks have been turned into blue until we bleed red because we are not white. But then they ask if we are alright. When will it be me? I ask myself this every day. Will it be while I'm jogging? Will it be while I'm at school? While I'm sleeping? I won't lie, I'm scared as hell. I'm so scared. I'm scared to leave my sister behind, my community behind. But if you are not willing to die, how do you call yourself an activist? I am willing to die at these steps on the concrete at school while I'm sleeping any time of the day. I am willing to die for this cause. Because at the end of the day, no matter what I do, no matter if my hands are up, no matter if I have no weapon on me, my skin will always be a weapon. Adam Toledo was 13. I was 13 2 years ago. I'm only a freshman. I think, what if that was one of my friends? What if that was me? I'm picturing myself back in 7th grade. I was such a little kid. I was watching anime every day. I was stressing about pre-algebra homework. Adam Toledo doesn't get to do that. He doesn't get a redo button because his life was taken by a system that was meant to protect us. Ignorance allied with power is the most ferocious enemy freedom can have. We have to fight the institution that has oppressed us for hundreds of years. All my life I've had to fight, nigga. All my life hard times like yeah, bad trips, Nazareth, homie, I'm fucked up if you're fucked up, but we gon' be alright.
If anybody else wants to come up and speak before we march, please come up.
Hey everyone, this is Eugene from the Providence Student Union. She's a very powerful and outspoken activist in the community.
Can y'all hear me? This is a poem that I have called ABC's, America's Black Children. America aims bullets blindly butchering beautiful broken black boys' bodies, bridging. Caskets closed, clinging. You see, America has dug our black boys into holes and pipelines to prison more than you can think of. I'm sorry. To grow up a black boy in America. It's to exist while others believe your blood will make the grass grow as if you are made out of magic. It is to exist with an identity crisis. Even when you become a man, they will look at you and think, boy, will shoot you without thinking if you're in your local park holding the wrong toys. Assume you ain't got no chill on your aggression. If you ever get angry, they're always so quick to say, well, why you always gotta act so black and never, oh, you could go with any color black, but the other black, but the other human, but the other broken record screaming, I can't breathe. And you see, the police chokehold black boys. Don't believe what they tell you like you're not supposed to feel, or cry, or any other emotions besides pride or invoking a clutch purse. But this is nothing special, nor an accomplishment. Because if a black boy graduates from college, and the police happen to kill him, they will search his Instagram looking for the most niggardly image of his likeliness, because he never was anything special. He never had any accomplishments. After all, he is black in America. But to grow up a black boy on stolen property, run by men whose skin seem like they haven't seen the sun at all, is to know that the first thing they think when they see you is a ticking time bomb, another inmate to be processed, a cadaver that has escaped its body bag. You see, black boys don't feel no pain. Black boys here don't break. But what no one understands is black boys break. Black boys break often when their father abandons his position, they break. When being called a nigger by a group of whites that you thought were your teammates, they break. When police profile, they break. When black people profile, they break. You see, to be a black boy at this moment in time is to have all of your bones broken and still be expected to stand. It's to be a nice little Negro. No need to talk about your feelings and pride because, boy, you black. You ain't even got a right to your feelings and pride. You criminal boy. You need Jesus. Yes, that's right. We need a white man from the Middle East, Jesus. Make sure they feel you. Make sure they see Jesus, because all they know is that feels equal type of respect. Not knowing that they don't feel your skin. They feel the outcome of American sin, where societies elect neglect. They elect to paint you as the aggressor. You are always the aggressor. But you are just doing what you've been taught. Been taught to not always have but want. Been taught to see your needs in other people's possessions and take. No one has ever taught you the concept of earning. They'll only teach you how not to break. But if black boys don't break, how come they can die so easy? If black boy was a demon like the police reports claim, how come he died so easy? So often. A closed casket funeral. An easy life but a hard death. So often. So strange, ain't it? How he was actually a human being. It seems like the only time America feels safe are when black boys are no longer breathing. But America, you're gonna reap all these dead bodies you sow, even though they are made out of magic. His blood, his body, and their lives will never make your grass grow. Thank you.
Anyone else want to say a few words, please? Anyone?
Hey y'all, I'm B. I'm with the Providence Student Union. So is Eugene. I wanted to draw attention to an action happening on the 29th and 30th of this month, starting at Classical High School and moving our way to the Rhode Island Department of Education building. This action is to get rid of school resource officers, pigs, placed in our schools to terrorize black and brown children. You know, when you see a police officer, you think the most dangerous thing about them is their gun. I can tell you that that's not true, because it doesn't take a gun to kill a child. When you see your classmate being marched out of the cafeteria in handcuffs, a 7th grader, when you see them come back, when you see how dead they look in their eyes, when you see how they don't raise their hand in class, you know that child has been killed. You know the future has been killed at the hands of the state. 29th and 30th of this month, be there.
Very important event happening those 2 days. I'm a substitute teacher in the Providence School District, and you know we always talk about how our officials and our superintendent and Ryan is in control of our school system, but it's really the students, the Providence students, who have the higher voices, who should be empowered, who should be feeling empowered, and a lot of respect and a lot of respect and trust for our young people in the community. Now we have Londa Rogers. She's going to say a few words.
Hello, everybody. If you're going to start with something, you got to go back 200 years for slavery. If slavery wasn't there, we wouldn't have this problem right now. Because it's in your mind and in your heart that you can go and lynch somebody on a tree just because they're black. If you're going to do something, change your heart and your mind about black people. Because this is the problem with white people. I'm not trying to say that you're wrong or whatever, but some of you in your mind think you're a privilege. You're not. The only one privilege here is God. And this is the problem with people. You don't believe in Jesus and you don't believe in God, because if you did, you wouldn't kill nobody. Because the 10 Commandments say, thou shalt not kill, but you're still killing us. I even went through it. I live in PC area. A white boy called on me. 5 cops came and tried to arrest me because I told him he couldn't park in front of my house. That make any sense? 5 cops. I'm 62 years old. What am I gonna do? Did that make any sense that he called on me? It's me too. It's not just the kids, it's the adults. They don't care. Trying to retrain these cops that are already doing this, you ain't gonna change them. You need to fire them. The system is broken. It's been broken. It needed to be fixed 200 years ago, 100 years ago, even 50. I'm still going through it. God bless.
At this time, we're gonna all gather behind this banner here, and we're gonna start our march. So if everyone can make their way behind the banner.
Wait, before Anthony Harrison, we're going to have Max say a few words from the PSL. Sorry, Max.
Hey y'all, I don't want to hold this up too much longer. We gotta march, show the people that we are out here in force and that we need to keep fighting. But I do want to just say one more thing before we go. As was just said, my name is Max. I organize with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Let's start off at the basics. There's no doubt that the police are a racist institution. They target, harass, and kill Black and Latinx, Asian and Indigenous folks every day. And we need to stand by our siblings of color who are targeted for police violence. But we also need to recognize that even as white people, the police are our enemy too. Even though we're less likely to be stopped, less likely to be harassed, it can happen to us all the same, right up to being murdered. I'm thinking about Stephanie Nicole Voikin from Miami. She was being evicted 2 weeks ago. Even though there's still an eviction moratorium, she was shot by heavily armed police coming in to kick her out. Local news stories justified her murder by saying she was squatting, that she had a gun. To me, that says the police thought it was fine to kill her because she was poor and dangerous. Millions of people across the country are facing eviction right now. And because they haven't been able to find a job, let alone pay the rent in the past year, instead of the government working to find people homes, to cancel rent debt, to cancel the rents, they can send in the police to throw out and then say it was justified if they kill you, no matter what color you are. The police target poor people. I'm thinking about Joseph Santos, one of 4 people who was killed in Rhode Island by the police since 2015. This man was on and off the streets all his life, getting nabbed by the cops for petty theft, driving without a license. You know, the kind of things people do to survive. But in 2017, he was shot just driving along because his truck fit the profile. And the police said they were justified. Actually, Steve Paré, who is still the police commissioner, explained why they didn't just shoot his tires. Why did he say they didn't just shoot his tires? He said, we used to do that. You know what would happen? They'd run. So because people fear for their lives when the cops shoot at them, the cops apparently think that in that situation, it's their duty to aim better. Meanwhile, Joseph's brother had to start a GoFundMe to pay for a casket, a story which is way too common in the capitalist America. So as white people, we know our friends of color, our family of color, get targeted by the cops. We know it's got to be stopped. But if you think you're exempt from police terror just for being white, think again. Police don't defend you because you're white. Police defend private property. They defend money. They defend a system that's been set up to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. And if we want all that to change, if we want to get rid of the huge police force that takes $80 million of our tax dollars every year, we need to recognize that we have a stake in this too. We're in the biggest economic crisis since the Great Depression, and anyone could be one eviction away from becoming the next victim of police. So let's be clear about what we want. We want to be free from terrorist policing. We want a society that supports everyone, that provides jobs and homes instead of armed guards in blue to serve our employers and landlords. We want to tear down the institutions of racism in all their forms and build up a society where we work for the good of humanity, not just to make our bosses rich. And if we want that, we're going to have to learn that we're fighting the same fight. We've got to ditch our bosses and fight alongside one another as working and oppressed people. We have to defend one another from oppression. We have to uplift the voices of the most oppressed and learn to link arms in huge numbers so that we are as strong as possible. Most of all, we need to fight. Let me ask you, are you ready to fight? Yeah. Are you ready to fight for your freedom? Yeah. Back up. We want freedom. All these racist ass cops, we don't need them. Back up. We want freedom. All these racist killer cops, we don't need them. Thank you.
y'all, let's start marching.
Start marching.
Everybody, let's get behind this banner right over here.
So by the looks of it, with our numbers, we're going to probably just take up one lane and keep it in one lane.
Hi, this is Will James for Uprise Our Eyes. This is a protest and open forum march for Adam Toledo in support of people who are supporting him in Chicago. Adam Toledo is a 13-year-old who was killed by police recently. Oh, sorry, I forgot the microphone's down here now. Yeah, march for Adam Toledo. Probably over 200 people, or probably less than 200. There's some people still over here. There's like bike protesters. They usually lead, or not lead, but guard the front from cars or other types of things.
All right, everyone, we're going to march to the right-hand side. Andera's going to lead us with the first chants.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, cause the power of the people don't stop. FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police. FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police. FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police. FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Don't shoot! 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 Hands up! 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 Don't shoot! No justice! No peace! 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 No peace! No justice! No peace! 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 No peace!
Police appear to be forming a line in front of the entrance to the highway.
Black lives matter! 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 No cop, no! No cop, no! They know better! They know better! No cop, no! No cop, no! They know better! They know better! No cop, no! No cop, no! They know better! They know better! No cop, no! No cop, no! They know better! They know better! No cop!
So the police were blocking off the entrance to I-95. Previous protests have attempted or successfully entered the highway before. Since then, police have been blocking that entrance if protests are near it.
Up with the people! Down with the faith! 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 Up with the people! Down with the faith!
And this is a protest in Providence, Rhode Island.
A little bit louder, please. We want justice for our people. One. We are the people. Two. A little bit louder, please. We want justice for our people. One. We are the people. Two. A little bit louder, please. We want justice for our people. One. We are the people. We want justice
for our people.
We are the people. A little bit louder. We want justice for our people. Dante Wright! Dante Wright! Adam Toledo! Adam Toledo! Adam Toledo!
Money for schools and education, not for mass incarceration.
Money for schools and education, not for mass incarceration.
Money for schools and education. Money for schools and education.
Not for mass incarceration.
Money for school and education.
Not for mass incarceration.
Money for schools and education. Not for mass incarceration. Money for schools and education. Not for mass incarceration. Money for schools and education. Not for mass incarceration. Money for schools and education. Not for mass incarceration.
Money for schools and education, not for mass incarceration. Money for schools and education, not for mass incarceration.
The whole damn system is guilty as hell. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Send those killer cops to jail. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. The whole damn system is guilty as well. The whole damn system is guilty as hell. Is guilty as hell. The whole damn system is guilty as hell.
Bring back brick, wall by wall, the racist system has to fall. Bring back brick, wall by wall, the racist
system has to fall. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall.
Brick by brick, wall by wall, these racist systems have to fall.
Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Wall by wall, has to fall. All cops are Derek Chauvin. All cops are Derek Chauvin. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice.
Said if Jamal doesn't get it, and then crowd was going to burn it down, referring to Jamal Gonzalez, who was hit by a Providence police officer last year. It's a moment of silence for people who have been killed by police.
Those are two all that they could publicize on social media and try to hurt people down the road. I'm pretty sure one of them is Zachary, and another one is, I don't know what his name is, but they have to be exposed, and for the safety of everyone, so folks can be alerted of it. So they've been with us since, I think, since the beginning of the march. I just want folks to know, because this is very important, and I just want all of y'all to be safe. Okay? So if you don't want to just walk away, or, you know, just walk away, please. Go home! Go! Fascists go home! 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 Racists 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 go home! Get out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Keep fucking walking! Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets? Who's streets?
Group of people chasing away members of the Proud Boys. The protesters just chased away members of the Proud Boys from Rhode Island. Again, this is a protest happening in Providence, Rhode Island. Oh, they just hopped in a vehicle and they're flooring it away. So yeah, members of the crowd just chased away members of Rhode Island Proud Boys. They just hopped in a what appears to be a Volvo and sped away. The crowd is continuing.
That's right!
Until we get it right. Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? Mama, mama, can't you see? Mama, mama, can't you see? What the system's done to me? What the system's done to me? Put us up and put us down. Put us up and put us down. Ain't no justice in this town. 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 Mama, mama, can't you see? Mama, mama, can't you see? What the system's done to me? What the system's done to me? Knock us up and put us down. Knock us up and put us down. Ain't no justice in this town. 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 Mama, mama, can't you see? Mama, mama, can't you see? What your system's done to me. What
town. Ain't no justice in this 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 town.
Hey, yo, my people! Yeah, I got a story! Yeah, let's tell the whole wide world this is people territory! Hey, yo, my people! Yeah, I got a story! Yeah, let's tell the whole damn world this is people territory! Hey, yo, my people! Yeah, I got a story! Yeah, let's tell the whole damn world this is people territory! Hey, yo, my people! Yeah, I got a story! Yeah, let's tell the whole damn world! Hey, yo, my people, yeah, I got a story. Yeah, let's tell the whole damn world. This is people's territory. Yeah, I got a story. Yeah, let's tell the whole wide world. This is people's territory. Yeah, yeah, this is people's territory. Yeah, yeah. People's territory. Yeah.
It's like right here. Let's turn the microphone on.
Okay.
You can just introduce yourself.
Okay.
What happened.
Okay. Yeah. Hey everyone, my name is Enrique Sanchez, one of the lead organizers for this march today. We just encountered two alt-right nationalists, Proud Boys. They were following us since the beginning of the march, and someone brought up to my attention that they were right behind us, tailing us. So I walked over to them, called them out, told them to please leave. We don't want problems, we don't want issues. People here are marching peacefully. We don't know how the night's going to end up, but so far I think we've done a good job. We've been staying on track of our original course, and we just ask that agitators like those, Proud Boys, don't show up at our protests, at our events. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, so that was Enrique Sanchez, one of the organizers. He confronted some Proud Boys and asked them to leave along with the crowd, and they left. They got into a vehicle that appeared to have been following the crowd and sped away. About 2 police cars following, 1 undercover.
Just so y'all know, earlier this week there was another black man executed by stick. Knoxville, Tennessee, in a school from a fucking bathroom! They say he had a gun. I say, what gun? What gun? What gun? What gun? What gun? They can take it. Mass murderers and give them fucking cheeseburger. They can actually take the lives of our black and brown teenage boys. So once again, I say, what gun? What gun? What gun? What gun? What gun? What gun? Fucking dumbass pig shot himself. Alright, that's enough. Alright, everyone. So, let's turn right here and go across that avenue and then back to the State House. Check.
Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang.
Every day the same thing.
Oink, oink, bang, bang.
Every day the same thing.
Oink, oink,
Bang bang.
every day the same thing. Oink, oink,
Bang bang.
every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing. Oink, oink, bang, bang. Every day the same thing.
Let Latino lives live.
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 Let Latino lives live. Racist cop killing hour. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power. Racist cop killing hour by hour. What do we do? Fight the power.
side. I've got you back. Your back. When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back.
What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When black lives are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Justice! Now! And if we don't get it, what do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Shut it down! Shut it down! Justice! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get it, shut it down! Shut it down!
Some mixed calls saying if we don't get it, some people saying shut it down, some people saying burn it down.
We don't get it! We don't get it! Shut it down! Justice! No! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
And we're in Providence, Rhode Island.
Shut it down! Justice! No! We don't get it! Shut it down! We don't get it! Shut it down! We don't get it! Shut it down! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get it! Shut it down! If we don't get it! Shut it down! If we don't get it! Shut it down! Justice! Now! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get it! Shut it down! If we don't get it! Shut it down! If we don't get it! Shut it down! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! And if we don't get it! Shut it down! And if we don't get it! Shut it down! Free the people!
Someone has the flag for the Democratic Socialists of America. Someone has a flag for the Democratic Socialists of America. This was partially organized by the Providence Party for Socialism and Liberation. The Rhode Island chapter of the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
Free the people, fight the power, fuck the police! Free the people, fight the power, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police! FTP! Thank you. Thank you.
Police are still blocking the entrance to I-95 in front of the Providence Place Mall.
We'll be United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall! United we stand! Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand!
Divided we fall!
United we stand! United we stand! United we stand!
Divided we fall!
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 United we stand!
Divided we fall! Divided we fall! Divided we fall!
Saying cops and Klan go hand in hand.
Cops and Klan go hand in hand! 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 Go cops and Klan! 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 No gun, no KKK, no fascist USA! No cops, 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 no KKK, no fascist USA! Cops, no KKK, no fascist USA! No cops, no KKK, no fascist USA! No cops, no KKK, no fascist USA! Cops, no KKK, no fascist USA! Cops, no KKK, no fascist USA! FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police! FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police! FTP, free the people, fight the power, fuck the police!
We arrived back at the Rhode Island State House. This is where the march began. Again, March for Adam Toledo.
If y'all remember who Andeda is, if you could return the sign to Andeda. She's waving her hands. Also, you can give them to me. I have my hand in there.
You can just drop off the signs,
Yeah, just
right?
drop them on the ground. Yeah, we're going to collect them. Thank y'all. people's PA.
If we can all regroup on the steps, please, for a few minutes.
They said they wanted to talk. No, they said
Capitol Police are inside the building. Or perhaps state police. There are just police generally inside the State House.
Everyone, I want to say a couple things before we leave. First, man, before anything, I just want you all to just see a first glimpse of what we talked about earlier. State police. The police state. Boo! Defending private property. Like always, that's their priority. It doesn't matter if it's people's lives or people's well-being. It's always property for these people. Property. Property, white supremacy, capitalism.
And the only time they don't guard it is when white people are going.
Exactly. Very real.
Police uphold capitalism and white supremacy.
Police uphold capitalism and white supremacy. All right.
For everyone who came out, give yourselves a round of applause. At the end of the day, although they see us as threats, we came here to spread peace, to break down the system that has oppressed us and our ancestors for years and years before us. This generation will be the generation to end all generational trauma, to end gentrification, to end the school prison pipeline. This is not racism in healthcare, in housing. We're going to be the superheroes of today.
Yes, sir. If anyone wants to say something, please come up and say something you want. You're more than welcome to. You just press the sound, right? Yeah.
Do you hear me? When the power of love overrides the love for power, that's when there's finally going to be peace.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out here today. Everybody give your another round of applause.
Let's give a round of applause to our bicyclists, our medics. For them, do what you want. I want to give a shout out to all the young people here, all the adults, all the people who believe in a just cause, the right cause. Give yourself a round of applause.
And I just want to say that I know from me to each and every single one of you that we will be here again as many days, as many years, as long as it takes. We will be here to fight for justice. So with that said, if anybody,
can we just, like the last thing we're going to ask from everyone. Everyone just sit down and just take a moment of silence, remembrance to all the fallen victims of police brutality for a couple minutes. want to say a few words before we leave?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody said pretty much what I wanted to earlier, but I do want to emphasize that changes aren't going to occur unless we have a broad mass people's movement that is determined to win not just at justice but power to see that these murders and abuses can finally end. It wasn't the system of politicians that has gotten Derek Chauvin to try. Should I start at the beginning?
Yes.
That's good.
How about now? Let's. One team, one dream. So changes aren't going to occur without a broad mass people's movement that is determined to win not just as justice, but at power till these murders and abuses can finally end. And it wasn't the system of politicians that had gotten Derek Chauvin to trial. It was a massive protest that began a year ago. People power made that happen. And the people will continue to hit the streets until Tim Potter and all killer cops are fired, arrested, and charged and convicted for crimes against black youth. Every cop. And also, just to emphasize, we have like brutality cases here in Rhode Island, right? Yep. Those victims on I-95, Jamal Gonzalez, right? And the police, right, have no business using excessive force on any of us, but if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem is going to look like a nail. Woo. And the police see working class people, specifically black people, as enemies to be subdued and put down, controlled and exploited, not as human beings who are complex and have needs that are unmet because of the capitalist inequality and racist oppression. So again, there's a lot of organizations here and people who are here are working together. Like, we need the system, right? The police are so organized. We have to be just as much organized than them to win. And we're not going to do that with spontaneous speak-outs or individual movements, right? So like I said, find somebody here, find an organization, a group. I'm with the PSL, and learn how to get more involved in building this mass movement here in Rhode Island.
Anyone else want to say a couple words, a few words? Please come up, don't feel shy. We're all loving human beings. No one else?
Enrique, tell them all the organizations to join.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, there's like Sammy said, there's PSL, there's Prov DSA, there's Reclaim RI, there's BLM RI PAC, there's FANG, there's all groups.
Providence Student Union.
The Wide Awakes PVD, who organized this. This wasn't an individual, this wasn't a group of people. This was a board, Wide Awakes PVD. Am I missing anyone else?
Sunrise.
Sunrise PVD.
Tourism. Dare. Arise.
Silence is violence for a 1 in 1 socket! Woo!
Anyone else I missed? Anyone else? No? Susanna's going to say a few words. Susanna is a community organizer and activist in the community. Her words are very powerful. Here you go.
Hey y'all, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Can y'all hear me?
Can y'all hear on this one?
Yes. Alright, cool. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. As for tomorrow, we have an event here at 6 p.m. We want for justice. So it's a party, and we'd love to have your support. As Andeda was saying, that we need people power. People power, we get political power. So thank you all so very much.
Anyone else want to use this time to make an announcement or something? Or
Power to the people.
I just want to say one more time, the 29th and the 30th at noon, starting at Classical, we will be at the Rhode Island Department of Education. We need to get these fucking pigs out of our schools.
Reminder that you can follow us at PVD Student Union or advocate to get SROs out of schools, working on the Student Bill of Rights and more. That if you would like to, as a community member and an adult ally, please engage with us. And thank you for coming.
Have a great night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Be safe.
Stay safe, guys.
Have fun. Bye. Good night.
Max and then peak.
I can hold it.
Oh, yeah. Yo, what's up? Good to see you. Y'all got switch.
Have I missed anything with you?
He's still top tier. He's like number 2.
Yeah, today was about a peaceful protest.
Talk about right here?
Starting at the 6:30 and going
Okay, give me a second.
Literally, oh my gosh.
Alright, so why'd you come out today?
We came out because we're tired of the police.
Sorry, talk a little louder.
We came out because we're tired of the police not taking any accountability for killing people point blank, period. That's why we're out here today.
Oh, yes, you're right. I know.
Susanna's like, I'm on vacation. Like 2,000 calories later.
Hi, this is Will James for Uprise RI. This was a event in solidarity with people in Chicago who are supporting Adam Toledo. Adam Toledo is a 13-year-old who was recently murdered by the Chicago Police Department. People spoke today, encouraging people who are here to get involved with local organizations like the BLM-RI PAC, Reclaim RI, Providence DSA, Sunrise Rhode Island, the Providence Student Union, all groups who are fighting for specific issues, ways to improve Rhode Island, to defund police, to remove school resource officers, which are in-school police officers. They encourage people to follow them online and get involved so that specific issues can be solved and the social movement can move forward. Tomorrow, as someone said, there is an event here again at the State House, I believe at 6 or 6:30, where there'll be a rally for an equitable legalization of marijuana in Rhode Island. That's organized by Reclaim Rhode Island. That group was formed by former Bernie Sanders organizers. Thank you to our 389 plus Patreon supporters. You allow us to buy equipment and pay ourselves sometimes. If you like this work, please support us. Again, this is Will James for Uprise RI. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Still live?
Yes.
Good night.
Yeah.